welcome to the 2026 Proposed Service Changes Virtual Town Hall. We will begin in just a minute as people are finishing logging onto this, and we will get started. We'll give it just one more minute for people to finish joining us, and then we'll begin our virtual town hall. Great, we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our virtual town hall on the 2026 proposed service changes. My name is Donnie Murray. I'm the manager of community engagement at HART, and I will be guiding you through this information this evening. So during today's town hall, I'll explain why we are currently proposing some changes to the system. Then I will go over each proposed change route by route. This town hall is also an opportunity for you to share your feedback with us by sending us comments in the chat that we will take into consideration as we continue finalizing our plans. And there will be an opportunity at the end of this presentation for you to ask us live questions. I am here along with some staff at HART, so we'll be able to answer questions right here live on the spot. Now, some information about how to use this virtual town hall software. If you are on your computer, you will see a set of icons in the top right corner of the menu bar. To ask a question or submit a comment, click the icon that has a question mark and type at the bottom and hit send. To view and download the information we talk about today, such as the flyers, the maps, and a copy of this presentation, you can click the icon that has a paperclip. Now, if you are on your mobile phone, you will see a set of icons at the bottom of your screen. To ask a question or submit a comment, you can click the questions icon that has a question mark, then type in the space above it and hit send. To view and download the information we talk about today, such as those flyers and maps and a copy of the presentation, click the icon that has a piece of paper. At any point during this town hall, you are able to ask me a question, and again, we have staff behind the scenes that are ready to answer it live. Some of those questions I may answer out loud so that everyone can hear the answer to, and other questions we may just answer through the chat. But either way, we will get your questions answered. And again, like I mentioned, we'll have more live Q&A time at the very end to make sure you have all the information that you need. Now let's talk about these proposed service changes. So HART is currently reviewing our bus network, and we are considering route changes for the summer of 2026. After doing a full system review, we are proposing these adjustments that would make HART more efficient and productive. It is standard to do this type of review about every 5 years so that we know that the system is still serving the entire community in the best way possible. And this review is particularly important because it's the first one that we've done since COVID-19. And as we know, a lot of things have changed in our community and the way that we act and transport around the area. So we want to make sure that our system is still accommodating that. While we don't take these decisions lightly, these changes allow us to put our limited resources where they make the biggest difference to our riders. We are currently accepting feedback about these proposed changes now through October 15th of 2025. The HART Board of Directors will do a final approval of the service changes in February 2026, and if approved, we would implement any changes in June of 2026. This plan is only looking at current routes and short-term changes. So next year, we will be coming back out to the community to talk about our future vision for where we should prioritize based on our needs for our growing region. So these proposed service changes, the routes include improvements to the Route 9 on 15th and 30th Street and the Route 34 on Hillsborough Avenue. Adjustments include the Route 7 in West Tampa, the Route 37 in Brandon to Net Park, and the Route 46 on Brandon Boulevard. And we do have some proposed removals to the Route 24LX from Fishhawk to South Tampa, the 25LX from Bloomingdale to South Tampa, and HART Flex South County. The way that these proposals were designed is that there are some reductions so that we can reallocate those resources, meaning that we plan to put those maybe vehicles or revenue hours into other routes where we have more demand. And I will now talk through each route one by one to explain what is proposed to be changed. Our first route is the Route 9. We are proposing to make an improvement to increase frequency from every 60 minutes to run every 30 minutes on weekdays. This will provide a much better service for the nearly 700 trips that happen on Route 9 daily. One of our goals with this plan was to improve our hourly routes because it reduces your total trip time when having to wait for the next bus. We also project that with this improvement, it would add about 200 riders per day to this route alone. The other improvement is that the Route 34 would improve reliability by adjusting the schedule to arrive on time more often. Currently, the Route 34 comes every 20 minutes, but it's often late due to traffic on Hillsborough Avenue. In order to keep the route coming every 20 minutes, we need another vehicle to combat that traffic so that the bus arrives when it's supposed to. This route, the Route 34, is one of the top 4 routes used throughout the entire system, providing about 2,700 trips per day during the week. Now for the Route 37, we do have a proposed adjustment so that the loop to HCC Brandon would be removed and the route would simply stay on Falkenberg Road. This change would make the trip quicker for the 10 people that are on board average who are not going to HCC. And the alternative for those that do need to get to HCC Brandon is a half-mile walk coming from Falkenberg Road to the campus. The proposed adjustment to Route 7 is that the last eastbound trip on Route 7, which is at 11:25 p.m. heading to Marion Transit Center, would be removed each day of the week. The reason for this change is that for this trip happening at 11:25, sometimes there's one rider and sometimes the bus is completely empty. So we'd like to remove this route to again save those resources. Similar to the Route 7, the last westbound trip on Route 46, which is at 10:45 p.m. heading to Brandon Mall, would also be removed 7 days per week. This trip again sometimes has one rider average and sometimes has no people and the bus is empty. We are proposing for 2 of the limited express routes from the Brandon area to South Tampa, the routes 24LX and 25LX, to no longer be in service. These 2 routes are some of the least productive routes in the system, unfortunately. And for those riders, they are able to use the Route 360LX as an alternative from the J.C. Henley Park and Ride to downtown Tampa, MacDill Air Force Base, as you can see on the map here on the screen. And the last proposal that we have is that the HART Flex South County would also no longer be in service. This route has the lowest ridership and is the least productive route in the entire system. There's only about 2 people that are riding this route per hour on average. And for those who qualify, Sunshine Line could be an alternative for those existing riders who are trying to get transportation within the Sun City Center and Waimama area. So now that we've reviewed what our proposed service changes are, we do want to hear from you. We want to hear from the public, the community, and those that are riding our routes. Your feedback is important to us and will help us determine how best to meet the community's needs. These changes are only proposals. HART staff will review your comments that you submit and make adjustments to the plans if needed, and then present the final proposal to the HART Board of Directors for that approval. There are quite a few ways for anybody to submit their feedback to us. First, in this virtual town hall, you're able to comment, provide your feedback to us by using the chat function. Another great way to provide feedback is through our main webpage, heartserviceinput.com. All of our information about these proposed service changes is on that site, including a form you can submit your comment directly, plus our maps and flyers about these proposed service changes. You can also call our customer service at 813-254-4278, email us at feedback@gohart.org, send us mail, or attend one of our other many public meetings. All of our comments are going to be considered equally, no matter the format that we receive them. So whether you are commenting today on this virtual town hall or if somebody sends us an email, attends a public hearing, or calls customer service, all the comments are considered equally, and there's no weighted system. Comments will be accepted until October 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the conclusion of our public hearing at the HART administrative offices in Ybor. Now that we've reviewed the information, feel free to type in your comment. Let us know what you think about these, whether you agree with them or if we should consider something else. Or if you need more time, you do have until October 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to submit your comment in any of those methods that I just mentioned. If you think of something that hasn't been discussed or answered yet today, send it in now and we can answer it. I'll wait a few minutes for everyone to have some time to type into the chat if you have any questions or any feedback for us. While we wait for people to type into the chat, I'm going to jump back to the beginning just to do a brief review of all those proposed changes if you need a summary of all the routes that we're proposing. So to start, the Route 9, we're proposing to increase the frequency to every 30 minutes on weekdays. The Route 34, we're hoping to maintain the frequency of every 20 minutes by improving the reliability so that it can come on time more often. The Route 37, we are proposing to remove the loop to HCC Brandon, so the route itself would stay and remain on Falkenberg Road. Route 7, we are proposing to remove the last eastbound trip at 11:25 p.m. to Marion Transit Center 7 days a week. Route 46, we're proposing to remove the last westbound trip of the night at 10:45 p.m. to Brandon Mall 7 days a week. And then we are proposing to remove the 24LX and 25LX from the Brandon area to South Tampa, and proposing to remove the HART-Flex South County in the Waimama, Ruskin, Sun City Center area. And again, as a recap, if you still need more time to think about some of these proposals, maybe sleep on it, you do have many other options beyond commenting on this virtual town hall to provide us your feedback, again, by that October 15th deadline. As you can see on the screen, there are some other public meeting options that we have coming up. We have 2 more open houses coming up, one at the Bloomingdale Library and the next one at the Waimama Senior Center in a couple weeks. We will have 2 more of these virtual town halls, one in English and one in Spanish in a couple weeks. We also have that final public hearing on October 15th at the HART administrative offices in Ybor. And then we will also be popping up at the Marion Transit Center and at Park Transfer Center in October with this same information, with some boards and an opportunity to comment for any of our riders throughout the day. So again, we're in the live Q&A section. I've reviewed all the information about the proposed changes. This is the full list of proposed changes. Once we receive all the feedback after October 15th, we will review all the comments. We're taking every single comment into consideration. We will again make any adjustments to the plans as necessary. And then we'll be going to the board both in January 2026 and then finally in February of 2026 for that final approval. And if these changes are approved in any sort of form, they will go into effect in June of 2026. But otherwise, this is the list of proposed changes for at this time. And as I mentioned too, we'll be coming back out to the community next year because we're really excited to be talking about our future vision. You know, where is our region growing? What type of routes do we want to be putting areas? Where should we be investing? It's just going to be a priority list of if funding comes down the pipeline in any sort of way in the future, we want to know where we should invest the most based on what our riders are telling us and what the community is telling us. I'm not seeing any other questions or comments come through the chat. So with that, that does actually conclude our virtual town hall. I've reviewed the information, shared how you can provide your feedback. Again, if you wanted to comment today but didn't get a chance to, you can again go to heartserviceinput.com, call our customer service, send us mail, or send us an email at feedback@gohart.org. Thank you all so much for spending time with us this evening, listening to this information. We think it's really important to be talking to the community and to our riders to make sure that these changes that we would like to do reflect what people want us to do. So thank you again for your time and have a great rest of your evening.